So I want you to copy down the image, the picture, the triangles, and also the notes, or the givens. Okay? So on your paper, draw the triangles, and then write the given down as your first statement, and given for your first reason. So we're doing notes. Draw the picture. Write the givens, and given as your reasons. All right, everybody's got the picture drawn, the two triangles. They written their givens down. Draw the triangles. It's going to be crucial that you can draw the triangles so that you can write on your drawing, mark them up, see what's going on. Okay, our first statement is that JL bisects HC. What does it mean if JL bisects HC? Crosses it, why didn't they just say intersects? What does bisect mean? In biology, what did dissect mean? Take it apart, cut it up, right? You dissected a frog, you cut it up, and you looked at all the parts and pieces, right? Okay, what does the prefix bi mean? Two. So we're cutting it into two sections, two equal sections. Okay, so if JL bisects HC, what are my two equal parts? We want two equal parts. What does it mean if JL bisects these two, this whole thing? CB and BH. Okay, so CB is congruent to BH. So as you're proving these on your test, on the final, I'll give you points for showing the appropriate tick marks, for writing your givens down, for all the statements and reasons, but the tick marks are really important that you show which ones are equal, because it's going to help you prove the triangle's congruent. Okay? So that's the first one. Now what's my reason? When I asked you, what does it mean that JL bisects HC, definition of bisector. It cuts it in two equal parts. So those two segments are congruent. Okay? Our second statement says that HC bisects JL. HC bisects JL. So what does that mean? JB and BL are congruent. Don't forget your segment marks across the top. And then don't forget to put the tick marks on your drawing. We know these two are congruent. We know that these two are congruent to each other. We don't know that they're congruent to everyone, but we know we've cut it into two equal parts. Okay? Our goal here is to prove that these triangles are congruent. We're almost there. In order to prove triangles congruent, we have to know all three sides are congruent, or two sides in an included angle, or it has to be a right triangle and we have to have hypotenuse leg. It'll be side angle side, okay? Because vertical angles, I like that, okay? We have these vertical angles that are congruent. And by the way, our reason for number 3 was the same thing. So put tick marks, dittos across the top. Okay. Number 4, vertical angles are congruent. So what two angles are we talking about here? JBH and angle LBC. Okay. Why can't I just call it angle B? There's two angles at B, aren't there? Okay. So I can't just call it angle B. I have to be specific and give it its 3-letter name. Okay. Give each one their 3-letter name. Do we have enough? Yeah. So we can say that triangle JHB is congruent to triangle LCB. And what's my reason? Side angle side. Okay? These proofs are easier than a lot of the other ones that you've seen thus far. Get 3 parts, triangles are congruent. Okay? So we have the correct parts, and the triangles are congruent. So this is often a 3 or 4 or maybe 5-step proof. Okay? Very good with this one. I'm ready to move on to the last one. Okay, give you a little more time. Okay, next example. So again, copy the figure and then start your proof by writing your givens and the reason given. On your assignment today, you're going to want to make sure that you copy those images, those pictures, those triangles. That way you can mark them up. Okay, as soon as we're done with this proof, we're just about done. Okay. Have your triangles drawn and labeled? First statement, GM, congruent to GR, and GK bisects segment MR. So we've got our triangles drawn, we've got our given written down, and now we want to mark up our drawing. Okay. So what does it mean if we say GM and GR are congruent? Same length. So let's put a tick mark showing that they're the same length. Morgan, what does it mean that GK bisects MR? Which ones? Cuts it in half. So what are my 2 equal segments? MK and RK are going to be congruent. Reason? Definition of bisector. So we've got the marks, the ticks. We're very close. In order to prove those triangles congruent, we have to use side angle side, hypotenuse leg, or side side side, right? So far? I like that. GK is on both triangles, isn't it? So GK is equal to itself. And then we can use side, side, side. What's the reason? What's the reason for GK being congruent to itself? Reflexive, I like that. Back when we learned properties, we had something called reflexive that said that something's equal to itself. It's like a reflection of yourself in the mirror, right? And so we want to use that anytime that we have to say something's equal to itself. Okay? And now those triangles are congruent. By side, side, side. Okay? I did have a student last hour who said, wait a minute, that big triangle is what kind of triangle? Not equilateral, close. Isosceles, because it has these two legs that are congruent, right? So if it has two legs that are congruent, what does that mean? The angles are congruent. The base angles are congruent. So he said, let's define that as an isosceles triangle. Okay, triangle GMR is isosceles, was one of his statements. And then he said, because it's isosceles, angle M is equal to angle R, right? Then we have side angle side. So there's not one right way to do it. That took one extra step than our way, but it's perfectly fine. Okay? So here comes your assignment.